Good evening. Hello, hello, hello. Word on the Curb family. Thank you for joining me here this evening. I am Annette and I am your host here at Word on the Curb. You can find us at 3 pages on Facebook, Word on the Curb. You can find us at the YouTube channel at Word on the Curb podcast. At What Trenton Really Makes and the Black Girls Locker Room. And the Black Girls Locker Room is especially open for the discussion. Tonight, we are talking about hydrating, of course. Hydrate, tea, allergies are killing me. So, welcome and thank you for joining us. Tonight, we're going to talk about a few things, but before we do, I want to thank my sponsor, the Ingram Kingdom Mobile Kitchen and Sister Seasonings. I want to thank them because they make it possible for me to be here on a weekly basis. So, thank you. I'd also like to thank my producers, Frank and Christina Sasso, for believing in me and helping to push Word on the Curb out to a greater audience. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Tonight, what you can expect in this discussion, and again, I share my experience, strength, and hope. And I always tell you, please do your own research. That's important. So tonight we're talking about missed opportunities, and we're talking about missed opportunities in all relationships. When you are sincere and rare and they mishandle you, mistaking it, mistaking it for weakness because you are sincere and rare. And tonight we want to talk about limiting access. And this discussion not only applies to relationships, romantic relationships, it also applies to business partnerships and with family and friends. And so tonight, our topic is when they spin the block. And spinning the block simply means that they are, let me set this up so that we can go into our chats and comments. And we have one. Hey, Word on the Curb podcast, Shauna. Hey, Shauna, welcome. We're happy to have you here. Welcome back. So it's spinning the block tonight. And what does spinning the block mean? It just simply means that when folks have mishandled you in one way or another, and then they come back around, whether it's a business partner, a family, a friend, or a significant other, and sometimes even a spouse when they spin the block. Because spinning the block means that somehow you have become separated from the relationship for one reason or another. So, spinning the block, when they spin the block, when they come back. And listen, everybody's experience is different and you have to deal with it accordingly. But I think we've all been in situations where people who have mishandled us, mistaken our kindness for weakness because we're sincere and rare, they come back. In one form or another, they come back. Whether it's through a stalk, a walk, a gawk, a contact, they come back. Because you know what happens? And I want you to remember this, that when you've been good to a business partner, family, a friend, a significant other, or a spouse, and they misbehave and they lose you, whether you're a man or a woman, they know what they've lost. Trust me. And most of them spend a lifetime trying to find it again, especially when they spin the block and you lock the door. Yeah. So, when is enough enough? You have to determine that. If you're in a business partnership and you're doing 90% of the work and your business partner uh, is doing a little bit different, you might have to consider, some changes there. If you're doing 90% of the work and they're doing 10 and you're being paid equally, that's a problem. That's definitely a problem. Hydrate, moisturize your feet, hands, and face, and your neck, of course. It matters. And your feet, and mind your business. That's important. When you leave and limit access, you're teaching them how to behave with you. Now, there will be some instances where you still care and you want the business partnership back because the opportunity to grow and glow in that business still exists. Well, you have an opportunity, or even, excuse me, or even when you still care and you want them back, you have to be prepared either way. And either way, you have to be prepared to either heal, which is always possible, even in business relationships. You have to be prepared to um, you have to be prepared to heal or deal. So you heal, and it's possible, or you deal with the reality of why you left in the first place. One or two things happens when they spin the block. One of the things I would recommend from my experience, strength, and hope is get to know your partner. What you see is not always what you get. It's not. They come on with the discussion in a business partnership. Hey, listen, we've both been in business for a while. We know how it works. Let's do this. When in fact, they have no intention of really working, but they do have intentions of working you. Pay attention. Get to know them. Look at their history and what they've done. It'll always tell you where they're going to be in it. Are people capable of changing? Yes. But if a business partner is bad, they're bad. ABC, they're bad. One, two, three. Hey, one and one is two all over the world. I don't care how you read it. I don't care how you think about it. When they spin the block and you know that healing is not possible and you want the partnership, be prepared to deal with the reality of that partnership, whatever it is. They come on and they say things like, hey, in relationships. Yeah. So I know you can identify with this. Hey, we're both grown, let's just do what we do. Yep. Do what you do and get what you get. Because when you fall for that, we're both grown, we don't need to wait. I've known you since whatever, even though you've had no contact, or I've met you and I've known you, for a month. We know each other. We're grown people. Be grown and be responsible, because if not, you'll either be in a position of healing or dealing when they spin the block, one or the other. Oh, excuse me. The other thing is, so easily in relationships, you drop your heads in beds before you even know who made the bed. If you didn't help make it, you might want to reconsider that fast drop, because there is a cliffhanger there. And in that cliffhanger, you'll either heal or deal. I'm telling you, you have options: heal or deal. When they spin the block, they're only spinning the block because somebody left the partnership in one way or another, whatever type of partnership it was. In relationships, you have to be careful because no two relationships are alike. But I'll tell you what, everywhere you go all over the world, bad behavior is bad behavior. Yep. And how you deal with it absolutely makes a difference. One of the other things we wanted to chat a little bit about is, if you're new to dating, and we posted this day before yesterday, I think. And it's not just dating. This applies to dating, business partnerships, friendships, workships, where you're working together and you're getting to know people and you're hanging out with them. Here's what I want you to pay attention to. As you try to find out more about them, the most important thing for you to get in touch with is what their childhood looked like, not what they created for the book or the gram, but what the childhood actually looked like. Because therein, if there's no healing, real healing, with partnerships and life coaches and licensed counselors and social workers, if there's no real healing, there should be no real dealing. Because guess what? You're going to deal with that childhood trauma. I don't care how good you think you are. And eventually you'll find out you don't have enough glue to put people back together all the time. And when you do, it's because they've added to the glue pack and are working to piece themselves together as well. It's not a one person job, it's both sides of the fence. So, listen, in relationships, the first flags, either green at go or red at stop, is the reality of their childhood. If they have not done some work to deal with that inner child and some of the trauma they face. Now, if you grew up in a certain era, I think all by itself there was some trauma because there were some generational curses that were not just practiced but almost accepted. Y'all know what I'm talking about, but that's not for this podcast. Anybody in business, friendship, at the job, relationships, marriages, who present perfect, do your own homework. Chaotic childhoods create chaotic adults. You see them everywhere. Everywhere. They're everywhere. Nobody is exempt from the chaos when there's been trauma and drama and there's been no healing. Nobody, nobody is exempt. Okay? And people tend to grow up and have some success, and in that they recreate their childhood. They do. Pay attention. They do. You can look at a lot of your old friends that you grew up on the block with. You knew who they were, what they did. It was a village there. You know what that village looked like, and you know where it came from. But when they get a little bit of success behind them, they forget that village, that childhood, that drama or that trauma. And everybody's childhood has not presented with trauma. But at some point in time, in certain eras, some drama has presented itself. And the sooner you deal with it, the better off you're going to be. So, how we cope with, you know, uh, dating apathy. We have voter apathy, but we also have dater apathy because the pool is so filthy. Gosh, it's filthy. And fatigue. And so, you have to check your expectations. If you expect to find somebody quickly, you're going to be disappointed. You are. Because the more I hear people on the gram in the book talking about, there's nothing out here, that's not true. There are plenty of good people out here. The problem is you won't leave your circle. And in that circle, what you'll find is that it's been like the wheel that the hamster runs on. You've been involved with 10 people that he knows. He's been involved with 25 that you know. You're friends, you're dating the same people, you're sleeping with the same people, you're engaging the same people in business because you refuse to step outside your circle. Good, bad, or indifferent. You refuse to step outside that circle in business partnerships, friendships, relationships, work. God forbid, you get a job in Tacoma, Washington, or wherever, and you don't go because you're afraid. You don't know anybody there. Hey, that's a good thing. Go somewhere different, meet some new people, and do some different things. And I promise you, you'll find that the dating pool is actually bigger than you think. It's just small in the circles that you run in. Find some new circles, do some new things. Never been to a museum? Go to one. hmm You can go alone. It's okay. Have dinner alone. Go to New York. Get on some of the bus tours that they have. Wander around. You know, look friendly. You don't have to be overly friendly in New York because that's a different brick up there. But even in Newark, go to some of the restaurants, check out some of the people. You'll find that there are different people, places, and things everywhere. Don't take people's bad behavior personally. Hey, I told you last week, the way people treat you is a direct reflection of who they are. It usually doesn't have anything to do with you. And learn dating skills. You get out of one relationship, you're out of the relationship for 20 days, and you're already seeking the next one. Where's the healing? So you take all that trash and garbage and drama and trauma to the next relationship, and you wonder why it doesn't work. See, people who are not into that can spot you a mile away. You have to be open to change, and you have to nourish your life the rest of your life. Self care is not a one shot deal. It's not a 90-day deal. It's a 24/7, 365. Take a look at yourself. That mirror will always tell you who you really are. So tonight, when they spin the block and they're first of all on the block because they mistook your sincere and rare behavior for weakness. Like when you love somebody and you take care of them no matter how you're feeling about them. And I mean, take care of them by, making sure they've eaten, they're not cold, they're not hungry, they're doing okay. It doesn't mean providing them with money. That's not what taking care of people is all about. And they talk today about, friends with benefits. Friends with benefits is not always about the heads in the bed. It's about the benefits that people can provide for each other. You know how many mature people share residence because it helps them live better? Has nothing to do with heads in bed. You know how many people, yeah, that's a reality for those of you who think that that's all that matters. There's so much more to friends with benefits than that. Friends with benefits could be about somebody who takes you different places and exposes you to different things you've never been exposed to, open doors and rooms for you that have never been open, brought you into rooms you couldn't get into on your own. Those are friends with benefits. Stop thinking heads in beds all the time. You're so confused. You're confusing the issue and you're confusing each other. When you get to know people, however you choose to do it is up to you, but at least know them so that you're not in a position to say, I never knew who they were. I'm going to tell you something quickly. There's a person I met a long time ago, and I knew them and I knew exactly who they were. I had all of their background, all of their history, and for some reason, for some ungodly reason, I thought they had changed. They didn't. It's pretty difficult for a leopard to change his stripes, and people can change. But I told you, one and one is two all over the world. And people can change. If they're liars, they can pull that back and start telling the truth. If they steal, they can stop stealing. If they cheat, they can stop cheating. But if they have bad behavior and bad character, they ain't changing. Okay? So when they spin the block and they've been reckless with you, you don't have to switch up, but baby, switch lanes. It's okay. It's safer in a lane where people are not playing bumper cars with your heart, your head, or your business. Have a good night. My name is Annette here at Word on the Curb on YouTube. See us, like us, subscribe, hit the share button, and ring the bell. Good night, all. Thanks for joining us.